Welcome to History Decoded. Today we travel back to the year 70 AD to the heart of the ancient world, Jerusalem, a city of faith, culture, and power, and the epicenter of one of the most dramatic sieges in history. The Siege of Jerusalem wasn't just a military conquest, it was a turning point that would reshape the lives of millions and leave a mark on history that endures to this day. Jerusalem, the capital of Judea, was a city of immense religious significance for the Jewish people. It was home to the Second Temple, the holiest site in Judaism, a place where thousands gathered to worship and seek spiritual guidance. But by the mid-1st century, tensions had been rising between the Jewish population and their Roman rulers for decades. The Roman Empire, which stretched across 3 continents, held dominion over Judea, but its grip was increasingly challenged. The origins of the conflict lay in a complex web of politics, religion, and social unrest. For years, the Jewish people struggled under Roman rule, dealing with heavy taxes, religious restrictions, and the presence of foreign soldiers in their sacred land. In 66 AD, these tensions finally boiled over. A group of Jewish rebels, known as the Zealots, launched a revolt against the Roman authorities, sparking what would become the First Jewish-Roman War. The rebellion spread quickly throughout Judea. In Jerusalem, the Zealots seized control, expelling the Roman garrison and proclaiming independence. For the Jewish rebels, it was a moment of triumph, a chance to reclaim their land and faith from Roman oppression. But for Rome, it was an act of defiance that could not go unanswered. In response, Emperor Nero sent his most capable general, Vespasian, to crush the rebellion. Vespasian, a seasoned military commander, gathered a massive army and embarked on a brutal campaign to retake Judea. Over the next 3 years, Vespasian's forces fought their way through the region, besieging cities, defeating rebel strongholds, and systematically reclaiming Roman control. By 69 AD, the campaign had brought Vespasian to the gates of Jerusalem itself. Before Vespasian could complete the siege, however, a political crisis in Rome changed everything. Nero's death plunged the empire into chaos, and Vespasian was soon declared emperor. Leaving the campaign in the hands of his son Titus, Vespasian returned to Rome to secure his new position. It was now up to Titus to bring an end to the Jewish rebellion once and for all. In the spring of 70 AD, Titus arrived outside Jerusalem with 4 legions, numbering over 60,000 soldiers. The city's defenders, composed of various Jewish factions, were prepared for a fierce resistance. Inside the city walls, however, there was no unity. The Zealots, led by men like John of Gischala and Simon Bar Giora, were divided and often fought among themselves, weakening their defense. Despite these internal struggles, they were determined to resist the Roman onslaught. Titus knew that taking Jerusalem would not be easy. The city's walls were strong, and its defenders, though divided, were fiercely motivated. Rather than storm the city directly, Titus ordered his troops to surround Jerusalem, cutting off all supplies. The siege began with a wall of encirclement, a massive barrier built by the Romans to prevent anyone from entering or leaving the city. With food and water supplies dwindling, the people of Jerusalem faced starvation. Inside the city, the situation grew dire. The people of Jerusalem, trapped within their own walls, suffered immensely. Food became scarce, and famine spread. Tensions between the defenders increased, with different factions vying for control over resources. Yet despite these hardships, the defenders continued to resist. They launched sorties against the Romans, setting fire to their siege engines and attacking their supply lines. But the Romans were relentless. Using massive siege engines, battering rams, and towers, the Romans slowly breached the city's outer defenses. After weeks of relentless assault, they managed to break through the outer wall, then the second. But the final and strongest barrier, the Antonia Fortress, remained. It was the key to controlling the city and accessing the Temple Mount. The Romans knew they had to take it. After fierce fighting, Roman forces breached the Antonia Fortress, opening the path to the temple itself. Titus, knowing the significance of the temple to the Jewish people, initially sought to preserve it. But in the chaos of battle, with fire and destruction all around, Roman soldiers set the temple alight. Flames engulfed the structure, and despite efforts to save it, the Second Temple, one of the most sacred sites in Judaism, was destroyed. The destruction of the temple marked the fall of Jerusalem. Jewish resistance crumbled as the Romans poured into the city, killing thousands and taking many more as prisoners. The city was burned, its inhabitants either killed or enslaved, and what was once the heart of Jewish spiritual life lay in ruins. The aftermath of the siege was devastating. Jerusalem was left in ruins, and Judea became a province firmly under Roman control. Thousands of Jews were either killed or sold into slavery. Many were forced to flee, leading to the Jewish diaspora that would spread their communities across the Roman Empire and beyond. For the Romans, the victory was a symbol of power and dominance, and Titus was celebrated for his triumph. To commemorate the victory, the Romans built the Arch of Titus in Rome, a monument that still stands today. It depicts the spoils taken from the temple, including the sacred menorah. But for the Jewish people, the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple was a tragic and defining moment. It marked the beginning of centuries of exile, as they dispersed to different corners of the world, carrying with them the memory of their lost homeland. Today, the story of the siege of Jerusalem stands as a powerful reminder of the resilience of faith and the enduring impact of historical events. It is a story of struggle, loss, and survival, one that continues to resonate through history. Thank you for watching History Decoded. Subscribe for more deep dives into the moments that shaped our world, and join us next time as we uncover another hidden chapter of history.